Time is the one thing we can never get back, yet most people spend their lives rushing through it, chasing results, expecting instant gratification, and growing frustrated when things don't happen fast enough. But what if I told you that real power comes not from forcing time, but from mastering it? That patience isn't just waiting, it's a strategy, a mindset, a tool for ultimate control. Those who learn this art don't just endure time, they shape it to their advantage. The moment you realize what you truly control, your relationship with time begins to shift. Most people don't have a time problem, they have a control problem. They spend their energy trying to bend the world to fit their expectations, getting frustrated when life refuses to play by their rules. But here's the hard truth. The weather will change. People will cancel. Traffic will jam. Your plans will be disrupted. And none of that is personal. That's just life doing what life does. The question isn't how to stop it, it's how you choose to respond to it. You want to master time? Then master your focus, your reactions, your effort. That's what's in your control, and that's where your power begins. Too many people waste days, months, even years caught in a mental loop about things they can't change, replaying conversations, obsessing over missed opportunities, blaming other people, waiting for someone to come fix their situation. But what if, instead of all that noise, you brought your attention inward? What if you could wake up every morning and remind yourself, I don't control what happens today, but I control how I show up for it. Think about it. The person who cuts you off in traffic? Not in your control. The job that didn't call you back? Not in your control. The market crashing, the weather shifting, someone misunderstanding your intentions, that's all outside of your hands. But the mindset you bring to that traffic, the attitude you maintain through rejection, the calm you carry through chaos, that's yours, completely and fully. And if you can train yourself to stop reacting emotionally to things beyond your control, you'll be stunned at how much clearer your path becomes. Most people live on autopilot, reacting to every trigger that comes their way. They give away their peace to things that don't even matter an hour later, but someone who understands what they control becomes unshakable. They stop wasting energy on trying to control the uncontrollable, and in doing so, they gain a kind of superpower, the ability to stay grounded, no matter what the world throws at them. Let me give it to you straight. You are not responsible for the chaos around you, but you are responsible for the clarity within you. The people who move the world forward, the ones who grow, lead, inspire, they're not living in reaction mode. They've taken radical ownership over the one thing that always remains theirs: their perspective. When the world says panic, they stay composed. When the world speeds up, they slow down. When others lash out, they remain disciplined. That's not weakness, that's control. And when you start living this way, time stops feeling like something that slips through your fingers. It becomes something you shape intentionally, moment by moment. Because when you stop trying to control everything else, you finally get to control yourself. And that's when your time starts working for you. The people who always feel rushed, impatient, like they're always behind, it's not because they don't have enough hours in the day, it's because they're spending their hours in the wrong places, placing their focus where they have zero influence. That's why they're burned out, distracted, mentally exhausted. Not from doing too much, but from worrying about things that were never theirs to carry in the first place. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice. It's a discipline. Every morning, remind yourself what's yours to own and what isn't. Your thoughts, yours. Your actions, yours. Your character, your habits, your attitude, yours. The rest, let it go, not out of apathy, but out of wisdom. Because that's how you start to reclaim your time. That's how you stop running from the clock and start moving in alignment with it. So if you want to master the art of patience, if you want to turn time into a tool instead of a trap, it starts here. Learn to let go of what you can't control and double down on what you can. Your peace, your purpose, your pace. They all depend on it. We live in a world that worships speed. Click now, buy now, post now, get rewarded instantly. Everything around us is designed to give us what we want with minimal delay. And because of that, most people are losing something far more valuable than time. They're losing their ability to wait, their ability to pause, their ability to choose long-term growth over short-term comfort. And let me tell you something, the ability to delay gratification is one of the most powerful traits a person can develop if they're serious about mastering themselves. Discipline doesn't show up when everything is easy. It's not built when things are convenient or comfortable. Discipline is forged in the moment you say, "Not yet," when your impulses scream, "Right now." It's built every time you choose to walk the harder path. The path that doesn't give you a dopamine hit in the moment, but gives you a powerful life over time. And that's what this is really about. You're not just avoiding a distraction. You're choosing a future. You skip the sugary snack not just to avoid calories, but to build a body that respects itself. You hold off on the online purchase, not just to save money, but to build financial control. You resist replying in anger, not because you're weak, but because you've mastered the ability to think before reacting. Every time you delay gratification, you take the reins back. You stop being a passenger in your own life and start driving with clarity and direction. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. If you can't say no to yourself in the moment, life will say no to you in the long run. That dream you're chasing, that business you want to build, that peace you're after, it's all on the other side of self-discipline. But the problem is, we've been trained to believe that waiting equals suffering. That if we don't get what we want now, we're somehow behind. But waiting isn't punishment, it's power. Because in the waiting, you develop patience. In the waiting, you build character. In the waiting, you earn the reward. People who master time don't just manage their calendars, they manage their impulses. They know that giving in to every craving, every urge, every distraction doesn't just waste minutes, it weakens their will, and once your will gets weak, your goals become distant. But every time you delay gratification, you strengthen that will, you build a foundation that can withstand the storms of life. Because you're no longer a slave to the moment. And let's be honest, it's not easy. There's nothing glamorous about restraint. Nobody claps for you when you choose to study instead of scroll. Nobody celebrates the nights you grind in silence while the rest of the world parties. But that's the price of greatness. That's the tax on transformation. And while the world runs on temporary highs, you're investing in permanent growth. Think about the long-term game here. You can either choose the pain of discipline today or the pain of regret tomorrow. But either way, you're going to feel pain. The difference is, one kind sharpens you, the other breaks you down. Delaying gratification isn't about denial, it's about alignment. It's about choosing actions that serve your higher purpose instead of feeding your lower desires. And here's where it gets deep. When you start training yourself to delay gratification, you begin to respect your time in a new way. You stop treating your day like something to survive and start seeing it as something to shape. You start planning with clarity, not reacting with chaos. Because you know that each no you say to the world is really a yes to yourself. This is how you build a life that matters. Not by chasing every thrill, but by crafting a path with patience, intention, and discipline. The person who learns to wait becomes the person who wins, not just in their career, not just in their health, but in their mind, their soul, their being. Because they've built the inner strength to hold the line even when no one's watching. So when that craving shows up, whether it's a distraction, a temptation, or an excuse, breathe. Ask yourself, does this serve who I want to become, or does it just satisfy who I am right now? Because that one question can change the entire direction of your life. In a world that never stops moving, stillness has become rare. Everywhere you turn, there's noise, notifications, opinions, expectations, distractions. We are constantly being pulled in 100 different directions, bombarded with endless choices, pressured to react instantly. And because of this, most people never truly experience a moment of real clarity. They live in a constant state of mental turbulence, where their thoughts race, their emotions dictate their actions, and their ability to focus gets weaker by the day. But here's the truth. The people who win in life are not the ones who react the fastest. They are the ones who have mastered the ability to pause, to be still, to think before they act. Because stillness is not emptiness, it is power. Most people don't realize it, but their greatest mistakes happen when they rush. Think about it. How many times have you said something in the heat of the moment that you later regretted? How many decisions have you made out of impatience that cost you in the long run? How often have you reacted instead of responded? That's what happens when you live without stillness. When you allow the chaos of the world to dictate your pace, you become a slave to impulse. You become a puppet to circumstances instead of the master of your own mind. But stillness changes everything. When you train yourself to pause, to breathe, to observe, to reflect, you start making choices from a place of strength instead of weakness. You stop being controlled by outside forces and start operating from an unshakable inner foundation. Stillness is not inaction. It's not about doing nothing. It's about creating space between an event and your response. That space is where wisdom lives. That space is where discipline is built. That space is where you gain control over your own mind instead of letting it control you. When you cultivate stillness, you stop being reactive. You stop jumping at every opportunity, every distraction, every urge that calls for your attention. You learn to be deliberate. You learn to wait. You learn to think before you speak, to listen before you judge, to analyze before you act. And in that waiting, you gain clarity. You begin to see what really matters. You start to recognize which battles are worth fighting and which ones are just noise. People often think that action is the most important thing in success. And yes, action matters. But what good is action without the right direction? What good is movement without purpose? Some people spend their entire lives running in circles, exhausting themselves with mindless activity, mistaking busyness for progress. Stillness prevents this. It forces you to step back and ask the hard questions. Why am I doing this? What is my true goal? Is this decision aligned with my purpose, or am I just reacting to the chaos around me? Stillness isn't just about making better decisions, it's also about protecting your energy. If you allow yourself to get caught up in every drama, every distraction, every meaningless debate, you will drain yourself before you ever reach your true potential. But when you practice stillness, you stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You conserve your mental strength for the battles that actually deserve it. And that is what separates the truly powerful from the average. They don't let the world dictate their state of mind. They operate on their own terms. The greatest leaders, the strongest warriors, the most disciplined minds, they all understood the power of stillness. When everything around them was chaotic, they remained centered. When others panicked, they remained calm. When the world demanded an immediate reaction, they took a breath and responded with wisdom instead. Because they knew that stillness is not weakness, it is control. And when you master stillness, you master yourself. So next time life throws chaos at you, don't rush to react. Take a breath, create space, And in that space, choose your response wisely, because the one who masters stillness masters time itself. Most people live with a constant burden on their shoulders, the weight of expectations, the pressure to succeed, the fear of failure. They obsess over outcomes, fixating on results they can't fully control. And because of this, they spend their days anxious, frustrated, and constantly second-guessing themselves. They measure their worth by external validation, by achievements, by whether or not things turn out exactly as they hope. But here's the problem. When your happiness is tied to outcomes, you are never in control. You are handing your peace of mind over to forces outside of yourself, and that is the fastest way to live in a state of stress and disappointment. But there's another way to approach life, one that frees you from this cycle of anxiety and frustration. It is the mindset of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring or that you give up on your goals. It means you shift your focus from the result to the process. You commit to the effort, to the work, to the discipline of showing up every day and giving your best, regardless of whether success comes today, tomorrow, or years from now. Think about an archer drawing his bow. His job is not to control where the arrow lands. His job is to take aim, focus, breathe, and release. After that, the wind, the distance, the movement of the target, those are all out of his hands. If he obsesses over the final result, he will hesitate, overthink, and ruin his own shot. But if he focuses purely on executing the technique, on mastering his form, on releasing with precision, then with enough time and repetition, he will naturally hit his mark. Life works the same way. The more you chase outcomes, the more they elude you. The more you focus on doing the work, the more the results take care of themselves. You cannot force success. You cannot control how people react. You cannot guarantee that every effort you put in will immediately pay off. But what you can do is show up, put in the work, and trust the process. People waste so much energy worrying about things they can't control. They worry about whether they'll get the job, whether their business will succeed, whether people will approve of their work. But all of this is wasted effort, because worrying doesn't change the outcome. It only steals your focus from what truly matters, the work itself. If you spend all your time fixating on results, you'll never be present enough to do the work that actually leads to them. Detachment is a superpower. It allows you to perform at your best without being paralyzed by fear. It frees you from the emotional highs and lows of success and failure. It keeps you steady, grounded, unshaken. Because when you detach from outcomes, you stop letting failure define you. You stop seeing setbacks as personal losses and start viewing them as lessons. You stop measuring your self-worth by external rewards and start valuing yourself for your effort, your discipline, your commitment. Look at the most successful people in any field. Athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders. They don't spend their days obsessing over trophies, profits, or recognition. They fall in love with the process. They train, they create, they build, they refine their craft. And because they focus on mastery rather than immediate success, the results come naturally. The process is what sharpens them, strengthens them, and ultimately leads them to greatness. When you detach from outcomes, something amazing happens. You start enjoying the journey. You find fulfillment in the daily discipline. You stop needing everything to go perfectly to feel satisfied. And paradoxically, the less you chase success, the more it finds you, because success isn't something you capture, it's something you attract by consistently doing the right things day in and day out. So let go of the need to control results. Stop trying to force the future. Focus on the work. Focus on the habits. Focus on what's within your power. And trust that if you do that long enough, the results will take care of themselves. Because in the end, It's not about where you end up, it's about who you become in the process. Most people view patience as simply waiting, as if it's a passive state of enduring time until something happens. But patience in its truest form is an active skill, a discipline, a tool for mastery. It's not about sitting idly by, it's about understanding the rhythm of life, aligning yourself with it, and knowing that everything unfolds in its own time. Those who lack patience rush, force, and chase, often sabotaging their own progress. But those who cultivate patience move with precision, with wisdom, with an unshakable sense of control over themselves. Think about the tallest trees, the ones that have stood for centuries. They don't grow overnight. They stretch toward the sky slowly, firmly rooting themselves deep into the earth. If you were to dig one up every few months to check its progress, it would never have the chance to grow strong. Yet this is exactly what people do in their own lives. They plant seeds of effort, but constantly doubt, second-guess, and uproot their own work, expecting immediate results. They get frustrated when things don't happen fast enough, so they abandon their plans, switch directions, or give up altogether. But true patience is about trusting the process. It's about knowing that every effort, every disciplined action, and every moment of consistency is adding up, even when you don't see the results yet. It's about moving forward with quiet confidence, not because success is guaranteed today or tomorrow, but because you are laying the foundation for something far greater than short-term rewards. People who rush through life often mistake movement for progress. They chase distractions, jump from one thing to the next, believing that speed equals success. But real success, the kind that lasts, is built with patience. The greatest achievements in history weren't made in days or weeks. They were the result of years of persistence, of people who had the vision and patience to stay the course. Think of an artist working on a masterpiece. If they rush, they create something sloppy, something unrefined. But if they take their time, if they are deliberate with each stroke, they create something timeless. Life is no different. Every action you take, every decision you make, is like a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. The more patient and intentional you are, the more powerful the final picture becomes. But patience isn't just about waiting for big achievements. It's about how you handle everyday challenges, how you respond to setbacks, and how you maintain your inner peace, even when things don't go according to plan. Impatient people get frustrated easily. They let small obstacles ruin their focus, their mood, their progress. But patient people understand that setbacks are part of the process. They don't let delays or difficulties shake their confidence. They remain steady, knowing that even when things seem slow, they are still moving forward. Look at the greatest minds, the greatest leaders, the greatest innovators. What do they all have in common? Patience. The patience to endure hardship, the patience to master their craft, the patience to trust that their work will pay off even when no one else believes in them yet. Patience is not weakness, it's strength. It's the ability to remain unshaken, to keep pushing forward even when progress feels invisible. It's the discipline to trust that the seeds you plant today will bear fruit when the time is right. So slow down. Stop expecting immediate rewards for everything you do. Be patient, not just with the world, but with yourself, with your growth, with the process of becoming who you are meant to be. Because in the end, the ones who master time are not the ones who rush through life, but the ones who know how to move with it. Mastering time isn't about waiting. It's about moving with purpose, trusting the process, and knowing that every moment, every disciplined action is building something far greater than impatience ever could. Because in the end, those who control their patience control everything.